Jonathan Barkan with Dread Central, and I'm here with Calvin Reeder, Anke Petersen, and Yannis Veslemes of Field Guide to Evil. How are you all doing?
Great. Great, thank you.
You're great. How's your South by experience been?
Intense.
Yeah.
Welcome to Austin. Calvin, how have you been?
Same.
Same. This is a good answer.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk a bit about the concept of Field Guide to Evil anthology that's built around folklore and this folklore that comes from your areas. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask, what do these stories themselves mean to you personally from childhood until now? So Yannis, we'll start with you.
Yeah, in Greek we have this kind of verbal tradition of bedtime stories, things like that. So we never made them into cinema stories. That's the problem. So that was an opportunity to show, in my case, how I really, thought of what a Greek goblin would like. So that's the whole story about a Greek version of the Christmas goblin. So you have Santa Claus, we have the Christmas goblin.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun. Anke, what about you? No Christmas goblins, but...
No, we have this red mouse in ours, and apparently this is a story that had never been told, and it's a very rare myth that we grabbed out of nowhere, to be honest, because there are the Germanics, they knew the story at the time, but nowadays... all the Grimm stories have been told, and the red mouse never appears in those. But well, it's obviously an existing myth because it's also part of the Faust in Goethe. So it obviously exists, but it's not a common thing. So I didn't even know about it before.
All right, Calvin, how about you? Where does folklore land in your importance of what made you the person you are today?
I don't know in particular about folklore, but when I was a kid, there was a serial killer very near where I lived.
It's very serious.
It was a serial killer very near where I lived. His name was the Green River Killer, and we were always taught to be very scared of the Green River Killer. And then when they caught him, it turns out, it sounds like I'm lying, he worked with my fucking stepdad for 24 years at the Kenworth factory. Now, that's not exactly what you asked, but that's the kind of folklore I grew up with. So the story we explored didn't connect that, because that's not what they asked us to do, but I wanted to have some evil hidden in the woods right next to you.
All right, so that's a bit heavy. Well,
you asked.
Well, I asked. I can't deny it. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the film was that the short films revolved around how it affects different genders, and the first ones were very much about women and the folklore that impacts them. And I want to ask, what is it about these shorts, as you look at shorts directed by women, as you look at shorts directed by men, what do you see in those stories that you didn't necessarily think of to put in your own, or that you think differs from how your voice appears in this film?
Well, I'm the producer of this film, so I would need to ask Katrin, who's the director, also female. So I pass it on to...
Uh-oh. You're thinking about this one?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the question is, what do I see different in female directors' short film work?
In these films, yes.
Oh, in these films.
These films that, compared to yours.
What's the question again? Sorry.
The question is, in these short films, do you, as a male, see anything different in the female directed sequences? I did not see anything in particular that made me say, hey, that's directed by a female. I just thought that they all took me to a place I hadn't been before. There was nothing like that occurred to me.
No?
Totally agree, yeah. I mean, it's a funny thing because the first segment, the Austrian segment, it was directed by both a male and a female director, Severin and Veronica. So it's nice because he, as far as I know, he likes the horror elements, she likes the art house elements, and they combine together and the magic happens. So, yeah.
The importance of folklore in a lot of people's upbringing and in shaping who they are can't be denied. one of my favorite books is The Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which, as you know, it was a series of books with terrifying imagery and very kind of childish ghost stories that was banned in many libraries because of the imagery. Horror fans flock to it. They absolutely love it, and as I say, it shapes who they are. So how do you think these films help shape a new audience into appreciating legends, folklore, history, and different cultures and their traditions?
Oh, again. The thing, the thing is that it helps to, because this anthology film has a international film, because 8 segments in 8 different languages, so it's nice to compare how the same, more or less, elements work in different countries. So that helps to understand that you are not alone, have a global tradition that connects us in a way. So yes, that's the most important thing. I don't know if I have answered your question actually, but
this is good. This is good. Calvin, what do you think?
The gist of the question is, how does this exploration of myths bring in an audience, make them more aware of myths? Is that what the question is?
How does this exploration of the folklore and these myths, how does that kind of encourage them to see the world in a different way, to appreciate these myths and see them almost as universal and just grow from it?
I can only speak for myself, because we'd have to ask the audience that. But as an audience member of this film, having seen it the first time, I would say it brought a lot more mystery to places like Germany and Austria and, of course, Greece. I've been to all these places before, and I didn't think about these myths. So it recontextualizes it. That's what I'd have to say. It recontextualizes the darkness of these places, and I like that.
So it makes you, as a horror fan, want to go there with a new, walk there with a new set of eyes.
Walk there with a new set of eyes, with a pentagram on my chest, and
let's not go overboard.
Okay.
I mean,
the blood of a virgin.
And we're
and a satanic.
And
Bible.
we have Green River Killer 2, the sequel. So
we're at Dread Central. Okay?
This is
Why
true.
are you being so conservative over here? This is what they want.
All right. Well, listen, Calvin, Anke, Yannis, thank you so very much for taking the time to chat with me, and congratulations on Field Guide to Evelyn. I can't wait for people to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for checking out this interview. We want to thank our sponsors, Dark Sky Films, Shudder, and Epic Pictures, for their support. Also, a big thanks go out to South by Southwest Convention for having us here. To subscribe to our channel for amazing content, go ahead and click right here. To follow all of our South by Southwest coverage, you want to follow this playlist. To see amazing exclusive horror clips, click here, and make sure to get the very best in horror news by going to dreadcentral.com. Thank you so much.